All right, so moving straight on to project updates. As Maggie said, we had a little bit of a slowdown in summer, well-deserved time off for people who were probably trying to do other things than just contribute to the DataHub project. So good job. We had still a pretty high number of PRs, honestly, 150 plus. We still have a very healthy backlog that I look at every morning, almost 50 open, I think 50 plus open PRs that we're still looking at. A lot of new contributors, again, showing that our project continues to grow. A bunch of first-time contributors. In fact, some new contributors to projects that repos that you may not be as familiar with. So DataHub Helm is our official Helm chart. So we're getting some contributions there as well. And DataHub Actions is the companion project to DataHub that allows you to listen to all of the metadata changes that are happening and take action on them. And we're starting to get some interesting contributions there as well. So really happy to see those other ecosystem projects also taking off. In terms of product improvements that have happened, I already talked about the small but impactful copy function improvement in the product. We've gone in and made substantial improvements in performance. So you'll see with the newer releases, both UI responsiveness as well as the platform's responsiveness is much, much better. I think in many cases, we were able to shave off more than 50% of latency on search and a few of the really high complexity pages on the DataHub application. So really happy. Search is going to feel much more snappy, and even entity page loads are getting much snappier. In addition to that, we've had improvements in the CSV connector. We've had improvements in managed ingestion. Chris is going to get into that, so I'm not going to spoil the party there. And we talked about siblings last time, those, I don't know who remembers those, simians who really got friendly with each other. So DBT and your warehouse tables, right? So we went back and did more improvements to it. So now you can not only view those combined entities as one thing, you can also pull back the curtain and look at them separately. So you can look at what does the BigQuery table descriptions and schema really look like, as well as what does the DBT version of this look like, and look at them separately and also combine them. So that's all product stuff. On the metadata integration side, as we already talked about, we have support for multi-project, support for BigQuery, some improvements in the BigQuery connector. I'll talk about it in just a bit. We have a new Salesforce connector, so that's pretty exciting. We're starting to integrate with the SaaS ecosystem and starting to bring in metadata about other things that are not just classic data stores or data platforms. And then if someone remembers the circuit breaker and the Python APIs that were demoed at the Airflow Summit, as well as in the town hall, as well as in my Spark talk, we actually released all of them. So now you can actually integrate in your Airflow DAGs or your Spark DAGs with the DataHub assertions and operation signals to be able to stop pipelines from running before they can process more bad data. And then finally, last but not least, on dev experience and platform, we have some small but hopefully useful improvements to the quick start. Now you can kind of quick stop your quick start instead of having to fiddle around with Docker and figuring out how to stop the Docker compose that you just started up. So that's just a DataHub quick start -- stop. You can also back up your quick start instance. So if you've got a bunch of stuff that you've done and you're like, oh, this looks amazing, I now need to demo it to my stakeholders tomorrow, you can take a quick backup by just doing DataHub quick start -- backup. And then once you have that backup, you can restore it, maybe on your machine or maybe on a different person's machine. And finally, if you have port conflicts that are happening with the quick start, like, we use ports that are pretty commonly used by other systems as well. We support for port mapping now, so you can kind of map to free ports that exist on your machine. We also have new models for dashboard usage, which we will talk about in a bit. And there were a bunch of intermittent 401 errors that a lot of people were running into, and we've gone in and fixed that. We think we got them all. So let us know if you're still experiencing 401 errors after upgrading to the new release, but I think we got it. So we shouldn't be seeing any more intermittent 401 errors showing up during ingestion. All right. And so moving on, I think this is something that John wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah, I'll just quickly give an overview here. So some of you may have noticed on the demo site that we rolled out some improvements to the search cards for data sets and dashboards. And this was based on some of the community feedback that people would like to see additional context that we're able to capture surfaced at a higher level in those search cards. So for data sets, we've added the row count, the queries last month, the number of unique users that we've got from the usage connectors, and then when the table was last modified, if it's supported for the platform. And then for dashboards, we have views, unique users, last updates, and then the ability to actually click into the dashboard, in Looker, for example, directly from the search preview. So looking for feedback on the updated search cards. Hopefully people will like them. That's pretty much all I have. Back to you, Shirshanka.
Awesome. And going on with kind of these fit and finish kind of improvements, one of the feedback we've often received is that people used to get confused about when a particular entity was last seen by DataHub and when that entity last changed. And so we've kind of gone in and simplified the language and the UX around that. So now when you go into the schema tab of a table, so in this case, like pet profiles, you're able to see when DataHub last observed it. So this basically represents when ingestion last ran for this table, and we saw that it still exists and we were able to get its schema. But then also, we're able to show you when we first saw this. So this gives you a sense of the overall time for which this schema has been observed in this particular table. So it gives you a sense of reliability, stability, right? And this, along with this, the history view, which we'll get into very soon, gives you a good sense of each particular version of schema that this particular table has. When did we first see it and when did it last change? And with that, we are here to announce some sad but happy news. I think we've been having a lot of different versions of Python that we've kind of allowed on our plane, right? And one of those snakes is going to get, sent out. And I think we've got Harshal here to tell us about why we decided to say bye to this particular one and why we're excited about it.
Yeah. So you might have seen that Python 3.6 hit end of life in last December. And since then, a lot of projects have started dropping support for Python 3.6. Notably, some of the official Python, for example, their types repository and their types checker are starting to drop support for Python 3.6. And so it's kind of high time that we move off of it as well. This shouldn't impact the vast majority of people in our community. Based on the download stats of the PyPy package, only about 1% of our downloads come from users on 3.6. So it shouldn't impact most of you in any way. But if you do have concerns about it, please let me know. Just DM me on the Slack channel. And for timeline, we're thinking probably the next couple of weeks, and we'll put in sufficient warnings and messaging around the package so that nobody ends up in a weird state and doesn't know what to do about it. We're happy and excited about this because it'll enable us to stay on a version that's supported, use packages that serve as their dependencies that are also supported and actively maintained, and just keep the overall Python package and its ecosystem up to date. Back to you, Shirshanka.
Cool. And welcome back, Harshal.
Yeah, one thing we should call out is that Harshal has officially joined the Acryl Data team, and we are overjoyed to have him with us full time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
happy to have you, buddy.
All right, moving on. Moving on, one quick thing. In case you don't know, we now support incremental profiling in Snowflake and BigQuery. What this means is if you've got too many tables and you just want to profile the tables that have changed, which makes complete sense, all you have to do is turn on that first flag up there. I think we need to make the name a little bit more easy to understand, but what it means is only profile this table if it has been updated in the last X days. So the default, I think, is 1 day or something. If you set it, most of our customers, as well as like early community members that are trying it out, are setting it to like a day or a week, depending on what their velocity of their warehouse is. So choose the right number for you, but it allows you to basically keep your dataset profiles fresh and at the same time not unnecessarily profile data that hasn't changed. A couple of more things we've added: table size limits and row size limits, again, to keep your profiling costs low and help you to focus on the important stuff. Moving on, is Aditya going to talk to this one?
Yes.
Yeah, I can jump in. Hi, everyone. Good to see you all again. So we made a few changes to how the schema history feature looks and feels this month. So, we heard your feedback that the blame label that we had before was kind of confusing and, didn't have the best connotation, especially for non-technical DataHub users. So we wanted to simplify the experience. So we made two big changes. Now it's easy as clicking that like audit icon to toggle viewing column history on and off instead of that like big normal blame label that we had before. So a little bit less clutter. We also simplified it so that if a data set only has one version, we actually omit the version selector just to, again, remove clutter and also make it clear that there's only one version of the data set. So we hope that it improves the experience for all you guys. But if you have any feedback, like please DM me on Slack, and I'm happy to hear out any ideas you might have. Thanks.